Okay, I made my horseshoe theology video, and I forgot to add one part that I put into the first video that I deleted on the topic, and I deleted it, and I was like, wait a minute, no, I should include this as like a part of it. But I've developed the thoughts further than I put in the first video I made that I deleted since then, just a couple, like 20 minutes ago. And basically what I want to say is, the question might exist, how do you know you're chosen by God? And so on. And basically, long story short is, if my horseshoe theology video captures your attention, and you kind of think like, I wonder if that could actually work that way. You know, and you maybe start to act on it. You don't have to do it all the time perfectly. No one does that. That's why Jesus is the only perfect one. But if you look at my horseshoe theology video and you start to act on it in that sort of approach to life, and I want to be careful here because I don't want to suggest atheists are like chosen by God necessarily, but at the same time, God never told me he didn't choose an atheist. I think if you're an atheist or agnostic, approaching it like this is the closest you'll get to being chosen by God if you're not chosen actually. You don't have to say God, you can say the universe in some sense if you're an atheist or agnostic or something. But if you're Christian, then you believe in God and you say God. And there's a slight difference in pathways where the chosen by God person studies scripture to understand it better so that they can embody the principles and the knowledge structures and frameworks and so on, embody them basically, like have the essence of them diffuse into your bones and your actions. And if you do that, then you might as well be chosen by God in some sense, even if you don't officially declare you believe in God, is kind of what my belief is personally. But you don't need to be an atheist or agnostic to find value in this, because the horseshoe theology, that is, it's just a good way of approaching life for an atheist, but it's also the best way to approach God as a Christian. So it works for either one. One's more full, one's less full, but it's going to fill you up a little bit more than otherwise if you didn't have this. And I'll leave God to do the choosing for himself, and decide for himself. But I have a sneaking suspicion if what I said in the horseshoe theology video catches your attention and you meditate on it and you go like, oh, I see how that actually kind of works in a way, and you start to act on it in some fashion, you're already chosen by God and are secure, essentially. Again, you can disagree if you're strict on the whole officially declared belief in God, but part of the point of the scripture is that God chooses the ungodly. God justifies the ungodly. That is in scripture for a reason. So it's God's initial move and your response to it, and so on. And again, the choosing is based on And depending on how you want to slice chosen by God, you can be chosen by God and reject the call until you die, and then you're not chosen by God, essentially, according to the Calvinists, or you rejected God, according to the Catholics, Orthodox, and Baptists. But if this theology, horseshoe theology thing catches your attention, then you will be closer to God in some sense than many professing Christians, in the same vein as many who say, Lord, Lord, will not be saved by Jesus Christ. So I'm not suggesting you don't be Christian here. I'm suggesting that this Christian concept will help you become a better person, more grounded in the reality of God and so on, regardless of whether you start as atheist, agnostic, or Christian, and you don't have this framework or concept. That's my stance. I'm sticking to it, and I hope that video particularly helped. And again, the horseshoe theology attitude or response to the world determines your character path and development path in life going forwards, no matter how confusing the logic of God's all-powerful all-knowingness and your experience of free will contradict each other. This is how you square the round peg for your attitude and approach to life individually.